What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. A lot of times I tell y'all I bring conversations that I have on my live stream to regular videos, just in case people miss the live streams and don't know how to search for the live streams on my channel. But about, I don't know if this was a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe, I don't remember. I did a live stream and I was asking people what movies or what movie made you cry, right? And I started off with, I remember the first movie that ever made me cry. I was about 9 years old. And this is when, me and my mama and my sisters, we living on 65th and Minerva in Chicago. I remember this. Right? And my mama was watching Castaway with Tom Hanks. Let me just say this. Tom Hanks got some of the most powerful roles I've ever watched in film. He always got, and every time he play these roles, he knock it out the park, for real. But in Castaway, if you don't know the plot of the movie, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. So he works for FedEx. He goes on a work trip and the plane crashes. Plane crashes on an island. He's the only survivor. Now, when he is not taking his job, but when he's leaving on a work trip, he has a woman back home. I believe they might have been engaged, right? They both are workaholics though, and all of that. But he got a woman that he loves, and he has a picture of his woman in a little locket. And so when he crashes on the island, he looks at this picture continuously as his reminder to stay alive. He like, I gotta stay alive. I gotta stay alive. I got my woman back home. I gotta get back to. I have to stay alive, right? Now he's on this island for about 4 years until somebody finally discovers him. He learns how to fish. He learns how to, make a fire, all of that, and he is on his island surviving. Now when he's finally found, he's brought back to the United States, and he finds out that the woman who he loves is now moved on and married to somebody else, and she now has a child, right? And so I was so hurt for the man because I'm like, bro, the fact that the only thing that was keeping him alive was the fact of him saying, yo, I got to get back home to my woman. I got a woman I got to get back home to. And when he get back home, she was somebody else really because she thought he was dead. She assumed he was dead like the rest of the passengers. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, bro, I was crushed for the man. Like, oh my God, dog. This how it gotta be. And he could have took her. He could have been like, man, this is my woman. I don't care what you talking about. This is my woman. I'm coming back for my woman. But he did the respectable thing. Yo, she got a family now. I gotta move forward with my life. I understand. And I was crushed though, because I'm like, man, it's just that's your woman, man. Like, golly. She used to be my girl. It was one of them joints, right? But anyway, I remember crying some tears for the brother because I'm like, damn, that gotta hurt. I would have been hurt like a motherfucker. But anyway, another movie that a lot of movies made me cry. John Q. Denzel Washington. Listen, man, as a father of 2 children now, it was emotional then. But just imagine, like, your son is like dying essentially unless he gets a transplant. What was it, like a heart transplant, I believe, something like that. And you like, yo, first your insurance is not going through. They not allowing you to do it. Yo, this insurance and stuff is too high for you to do. All this type of stuff. You don't got the money to do what you need to get done. And so you hold the entire hospital hostage. Because at the end of the day, you don't care if you go to jail. You don't care if you die. You're not going to bury your son. Like, for real, you're going to make sure your son get what he needs to stay alive. And when Denzel says, I'm not going to bury my son, like, what? I mean, like, it's one point I remember when Denzel was contemplating taking his own life in order to save his son, right? Because I don't think they could find a donor. They couldn't find a donor. And so he would be the perfect match for his son. And at the last minute, he counseling his son on taking care of his mother and not saying curse words and all of that, and being a perfect gentleman, in life and all of that, as a reminder to his son, because he felt like, yo, I'm gonna take my own life so that my son can live. Like that is powerful. You know what I'm saying? Another movie that made me cry, man. Set It Off. At the end of Set It Off, during Cleo's death scene, and after everybody is gone, and Stoney is the last survivor, and she's in like Mexico somewhere, counting that money on the bed. You feel me? Like, and you hear that I'll find a way to get through. Like, what? I'm like, oh no, man. That is hurtful, man. That is hurtful. I'm a young dude crying like, y'all, this is terrible. It's terrible. Another movie that made me really emotional, the movie Life, starring Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. Phenomenal movie, extremely funny movie, but it's a really sad movie. When you look at the whole background of that movie, they got framed for a murder they did not commit and spent what, 50 years in jail? Hey, man, they spent about a good 50 years, maybe 60, I don't know, years in jail. And when they get out of jail, it's the scene when Martin is driving around not the groundskeeper, driving around the dude that they're staying with, right? Because they get released from the actual prison to like I forgot where they were staying with a guy. They were like groundskeepers for the guy when they're old men in their 80s, right? And Martin is driving the guy around, and when he looks in the mirror and sees how old he is, and looks at how time has evolved since he went to jail, like you got black folks is out and about living in the world, and they're living a much better life than what he had known. And you know, they got stereos and all this stuff walking around, and black folks are looking like, you know, they're in a much better state than they once were. And he like, yo, time, my life has passed on. I'm an old man, and everything has went bad for me. You know what I mean? Even when he lost his girl to his cousin, Melvin, that was the lawyer. It was all crazy, man. But it's really a sad movie when you think about it. And at the end, they're watching the Yankees game together. You know, but they had to escape, and they old men. So yeah, another movie that was very emotional for me. Crooklyn. Crooklyn. Man, Crooklyn, that's the first Spike Lee joint I ever saw in my life. Love that movie. One of my favorite Spike Lee joints. You know, Malcolm X is my favorite. I was named after Malcolm X. Malcolm. My name is Malcolm. I was named after Malcolm X after that movie came out. The movie came out in like November 92. I was born some months later after that. You know, and my father named me Malcolm, right? After watching that movie with my mom. But anyway, Crooklyn, that like, man, when the mom passes and Troy takes on the motherly role and combing and brushing the brother's hair and trying to hold down the fort, that is emotional, man. This young girl now has to be a motherly figure to her brothers now that her mom is passed on. That is like, that movie is to me, that's really, it's a powerful movie, a really dope movie, really beautiful film. Spike did his thing with that joint. Antwone Fisher, starring Derek Luke. Derek Luke is an outstanding actor. He don't get enough praise for his acting abilities. Derek Luke and Denzel Washington stars in that. He's a kid who was put up for adoption, and while in adoption, he experiences the worst type of abuse, physical abuse, also sexual abuse, all of that at the hands of his stepmother and his foster mother and the foster cousin and all of that, and Jada. Y'all know Emmy's mama from The Chi. I will never forgive her for what she did to little Antwone. Hell no. Right? And it's another movie, man. My mom used to watch Stepmom with Julia Roberts. Basically, Julia Roberts is now married to a man that has children, and the man's ex-wife, she is terminally ill, and she's going through a stage where she's passing, and she knows she's passing. But she's seeing her children, you know, take well to another woman and all of that, and she going through all her emotions about that. And you know, she basically delivers the news of her diagnosis to Julia Roberts and all that. And it's a really, really good movie, man. The mom ends up dying in the movie, of course, right? Hardball when G-Baby death scene. What? Come on, man. That crushed me, bro. Like, especially me in Chicago. And they was in the projects, you feel me, that closely resembled the Robert Taylor projects where my auntie and my cousins were staying in at the time and all of that. And yeah, man, just like the death scene, and when they show him make that hit at the baseball game where Keanu Reeves is talking at G-Baby's funeral, man, super, super impactful. It's a lot of movies, man. Menace to Society, even though Kane did a lot of bad things. You know what I'm saying? You could tell he didn't really want to be a killer, but hey, he had done too much to go on and done too much to go back. And when he, at the end, when he get hit up like that and he running protecting Anthony, what? I like, yo. And then when it ends with his heart beating, and the heart stop beating, and he say, my grandfather once asked me if I cared if I live or died. Well, I do. And now it's too late. And you hear the gunshot go off and the heart stop beating. Man, crazy. Crazy. It's a lot of The Pursuit of Happyness. Oh my God. What? How could I forget that? I'm about to run out of time on this video. Man, that Will Smith is one of Will Smith's most powerful roles. Clapping in the street after getting a job, dog. Come on, man. Come on.